Folks, Saturday is the mayoral election in New Orleans, and there are a number of candidates who are running. It has been an extremely active early voting period, as you've seen a lot of folks turning out for in early voting. But again, now it all comes down to who can turn the voters out on Saturday. Yesterday, we featured City Council member Oliver Thomas. He is one of the top three candidates who's running. City Council Vice President Helena Marino also there, but Louisiana State Senator Royce Duplessis is also in the top three. He joins us right now. I'm glad to have you on the show. First and foremost, what is your main priority if you are elected mayor of New Orleans?
Thank you for having me, Roland. My main priority is to keep New Orleanians in New Orleans. We've lost over 20,000 people over the past 4 years in New Orleans, Roland. That's one of the top and greatest loss of population that any other city has seen in the country in that amount of time. So we have to keep people here because people are packing up their bags and people are leaving the city. So, you know, if we continue down this trend, we won't have the city that we know and that we love. So it's about prioritizing the people who are here. And while we can still have all of the festivals and the events to keep people coming from around the world, the people who live here and who pay taxes here, who are from here, don't need to feel secondary to visitors and tourists.
Okay, but so you want to keep them there. How do you do that?
Housing affordability. So my plan over the course of 10 years, Roland, is to develop and preserve 40,000 affordable units. The reason I say 40,000 is the experts tell us that we actually need 47,000. So they say, Roy, stop saying 40,000. It's too ambitious. It's too bold. I said, no, we have to do it because as you and I are having this conversation, 30,000 are being squeezed out of the city. The cost of living is too high. So I want to develop and preserve 40,000 units over the course of 10 years. We put a plan in place. I'm going to hire the position to create the office of the chief housing officer that will facilitate what we just passed, which is a housing trust fund to go towards affordable housing. We're going to have roughly $20 million annually to leverage to put towards affordable housing investments. So that's critical, Roland. We have to deal with the issue also of homeowners insurance. I want to create a local fortified roof program to supplement the state program, because what we're going to do in Orleans Parish is if we get more people with fortified roofs that can withstand hurricane force winds, that can also help bring down homeowners insurance for people across this city. So housing is number one priority.
Obviously, but in order to have housing, you got to have a job. And so how you looking to grow the economic base of New Orleans when, frankly, you're so dependent upon two things, petrochemical as well as tourism?
Yeah, so we're not as dependent on petrochemical as we once were. In fact, New Orleans lost significantly back in the 80s during the oil bust. But as you're right, it's been primarily tourism. I'm a believer that we have to play up our strengths, Roland. And two strengths that we have, number one is the fact that we are a port city. We were built alongside the river. We are a maritime city. So the Port of New Orleans also presents a tremendous opportunity. Currently, there is an investment underway that will create, it's a $2 billion investment for the expansion of the container terminal project. That will be jobs for distribution, warehousing, logistics, jobs on average that pay $80,000. We look at Jefferson Parish, we look at St. Tammany Parish, both just got Amazon distribution hubs. Those Amazon distribution hubs and other businesses like that can go in places like New Orleans East that desperately needs and deserves economic investment. That's a strength that we already have. We don't have to go out and attract new industries because it's already here. We just have to lean in and grow it. Also, healthcare. I talked a lot about the redevelopment of Charity Hospital. You know, Roland, since Hurricane Katrina, Charity Hospital has not been touched. But we have what's called the Bio District that can redevelop and reimagine downtown, a lot more investment there in healthcare jobs, biotech jobs, bioengineering jobs. That's a prime opportunity. And those are the strengths that we have to play up. And then we can lean into other industries like aerospace. We see Alabama and Mississippi benefiting from investments in aerospace, but port expansion as well as healthcare are two industries that I think we can really grow in.
I asked Councilman Thomas the same question I'll ask you. How do you deal with the reality of corruption? You're dealing with a mayor right now who's been indicted. You've had previous mayors that have been indicted, gone to prison. You've had council members. Councilman Thomas was involved in the bribery situation. What do you say to the public when it comes to the need to trust that people who are elected are not going to sell them out for personal interest?
Building and regaining trust is at the forefront of what we all have to do as elected leaders. When we go out to the community, when we go out to a church, when we go out there and ask people to vote for us, we are asking for their trust. And as you have pointed out, unfortunately, there have been one too many instances of where that trust has been broken. What I will do as mayor is ensure that I'm transparent. I will ensure that I never overpromise, and if there's something that I can't do, I will be honest, and I can accept the criticism. But it's important that we protect that trust, because you know how it's impacted voter turnout. A lot of our people don't vote because they don't trust the leadership. So I recognize that, and I'm sensitive to that. And a large part of why I'm running and why I chose public service is because I want to restore a sense of nobility to public service. I want to restore some faith in the leadership that people send to work on their behalf.
Question from my panel. Mustafa, you first.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining the show. I lived in New Orleans before. I've worked in New Orleans. There's about a 25-year life expectancy difference between zip codes. I'm curious how you will help to make sure that that no longer is the reality.
Well, you've been doing great work over the years, Mustafa. Look, when I was at Howard University School of Law, I founded the Howard Energy and Environmental Law Society in large part because of the work that I saw that was being done at the Environmental Protection Agency, and seeing how different neighborhoods were being impacted by environmental racism and environmental injustices that have historically impacted our communities. And we saw that happen, and that being unveiled in the rawest way during Hurricane Katrina. I believe that if we go to the communities and we're closest to the problems, where the problems exist in our communities, and we focus on addressing those needs, that's how we can best solve the problem. And the inequity gaps, the equity gaps that exist in New Orleans only have grown over the past several years. So I believe it's important to be proximate to the problems. When you talk about life expectancy, we have children in our community that are dealing with intergenerational trauma. We still have food deserts throughout our community. We still have one of the worst maternal mortality rates in the country throughout the state of Louisiana, but that's also pronounced in places like New Orleans. But I will prioritize the city's Department of Health and ensuring that we are always equity focused and equity driven, and employing best practices so that our people who are suffering the most get the most attention.
Randy.
We've seen that the numbers are higher than normal when it comes to early voter turnout this year, which is great. What are you going to do in the next week to ensure that people show up at the polls on election day? Because the two aren't always correlated.
Yeah, they're not always correlated, but I think it's a great indication that people are ready for change, that people want new leadership, people want a different style of leadership. So my plan is to be as visible as I can, encouraging everyone to vote. What I always say is, obviously I want people to vote for me, but I want people to just to vote, understanding that this is their voice, this is their right, that don't give it away, right? Keep the enthusiasm. Before I came on the show, I was out in the hot sun waving signs in the middle of traffic. I want people to understand that the change starts with them showing up at the ballot box. We also have a charter amendment that's on the ballot. In addition to the mayoral election and the city council election, we have what's called the Second Chance Amendment that will protect individuals who've returned home from prison, who've served their time, to ensure that they're not discriminated against for housing, employment, and education. So we want people to be aware and educated about all these things that are on the ballot. And the fact that we have more than double of the turnout for early voting than we had 8 years ago is a clear sign that people are excited and they're ready for change. And we're going to work from sunup to sundown, even after sundown, to remind people of the need to continue to show up and vote.
Joe.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you.
mayors are on the front lines as it pertains to relationship with the federal government. Ideally, they would be a positive relationship. There's a lot of opportunity for collaboration, et cetera, moving towards common goals. But you know what we're dealing with in Washington and what mayors are seeing. Tell me how you would deal with Washington, D.C. Stepping in areas that they shouldn't, trying to provoke and pull things down on cities that are inconsistent with the city's growth, with the city's health, et cetera. Take us through that and what you'd see there.
Thank you. So I currently serve in the Louisiana Senate, and the Louisiana legislature is basically a microcosm, and it's very similar to what we're seeing up in Washington in terms of this current administration and the MAGA agenda. It's fully in play. So I've had to navigate a very hostile climate and stand up and defend the city of New Orleans, protect the city of New Orleans, advocate on behalf of the city of New Orleans. What we're seeing play out throughout the country in majority Black cities, cities that have Black leadership, cities that are majority Democrat. Right here in the city of New Orleans, y'all probably aware that the governor requested 1,000 troops, federal guard troops, to be deployed throughout Louisiana, but only in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Shreveport. So what I would say to the governor, and what I have said to the governor, and what I will say to the president, is that we welcome support. We want support. But the way that we want support is you ask us how we can best serve our communities. Los Angeles spent $120 million on federal troops. Do you know what we can do with that kind of money? Investing in the New Orleans Recreation Department, investing into the housing developments that I'm talking about, investing into economic development and job opportunities for young people. We know how to solve crime in our communities. And while we've had a recent spike over the past few days, crime is down in the city of New Orleans. But we know that this is a larger play that has nothing to do with crime. It's about power. It's about trying to show force of militarization in cities. We want to employ community policing throughout the city of New Orleans so that the people in New Orleans know who's patrolling their neighborhoods, not unnamed federal guards that are patrolling neighborhoods. So I would want to continue to have that conversation with this administration, but it unfortunately is going in a direction that it shouldn't be, and I'll have to stand up and defend my city.
I'll ask this here. You've got your current and former member of Congress, Cedric Richmond, Troy Carter. Both of them are endorsing Helen Moreno. And so I've heard from people that say, hey, that Black politics in New Orleans is split. Some say, hey, who cares? We don't necessarily need a Black mayor of New Orleans. What do you say to folks who say that? Well, others believe that it's critically important to continue Black leadership as the mayor of New Orleans?
Well, the first thing is that I say everybody has a right to endorse who they want to endorse. But of the list of people that you named, they don't speak for the entire Black community. So let me say that there. And I'm proud to say that I have a ton of Black leadership support from Congressman Cleo Fields, strongly endorsed. From Congressman Fields, I have the endorsement of former Mayor Sidney Bartholomew. I have the endorsement of the first Black Chief Justice of the Louisiana Supreme Court, Burnett Johnson, who I used to work for and is my mentor. But outside of that, I'm proud to say that I have a plethora of endorsements from Black leadership in the city of New Orleans. As it relates to the conversation around whether or not the city needs a Black leader, look, let me be clear. The city of New Orleans is still majority Black. And during these times where we're seeing attacks on Black leadership, I think it's important to point out that representation still matters. Now, do I think somebody should be elected mayor just because they're Black? Absolutely not. But I do believe when you have qualified, competent Black leadership, we should be always working to promote that and identify that and identify and promote that in cities that are majority Black. I think it's important. And with that said, everybody has their choice, But I think in these times, we need to be cognizant of what is going on throughout this country. And, people fought for us to have this representation. And it's something that I take very seriously. And I'm proud to have the support of many, many, many Black leaders in this city. And ultimately, it's going to be the support of the majority of the people of New Orleans that I'm seeking, not just Black leadership, but all the voters of New Orleans. I'm seeking their support.
All right, Senator Royce Duplessis, we appreciate it. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.